Hi, today I am talking about Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This book is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought this book was going to be a call to arms, a bullet point list for what we can do to end systemic racism, but it's not. This book is a call to open your eyes. This book is a slice of life in what it's like to live as a person of colour in today's USA, and it's written in the form of a letter to Coates' son. And he relates in beautiful language the situations that have not shaped his life, but big things that have happened throughout his life that he felt were important to relate. And you have this really interesting juxtaposition between his beautiful language and some of the, at times, really terrible things that he's relating to us as the reader. My favourite bit was actually when he was relating to us how he himself was awakened to the issues and problems at hand. And because it was back in the day, he went to the library and he got stacks of books and he sat at a library table and he read through these books and took notes all weekend, which is such an interesting contrast to the way that we learn nowadays about racial issues or other topical issues. And we read news articles and we read blogs and we watch YouTube videos and we listen to podcasts, and it's such a different methodology, but at the end it's still the same thing. So I had a little bit of nostalgia for, I wish I could go to a library and just read books all day. But what was interesting about that small story is he presented the fact that when he was reading, he discovered two authors who were discussing the same problem, the same topic, but approached it from different angles, and they had different readings of the topic, which I thought was such an interesting thing to point out, that even though two people believe in the same end goal, it doesn't mean they need to get there in the same way. It doesn't mean that they need to believe in the same reading of the situation. They don't need to be this homogeneous mass that then just slurps its way to the goal. Which is actually an idea that I'm learning from Judith Butler at the moment, but that is a review for another day. But when you think about it, a call to arms is actually not that useful. Yeah, some people will be galvanized by a call to arms. They will start protesting, they'll start writing to their MPs, they'll start talking to their friends and their family and their colleagues, and they'll make personal changes and personal decisions, and that's great. But for the majority of people, we're really lazy. We don't like doing things. We don't like having to change. We don't like having to expend energy to do something. And that's why I think publishing books like this is so important, because this isn't a call to arms. This is just telling us what it's like for some people who have to experience racism and bias in their lives. And you might be some person who has luckily never experienced racism or bias or whatever in your life. But then you read this book and it's impossible to ignore. And it opens your eyes and it helps you to understand, that's what those crazy youngins were protesting about. That makes sense now. And if you finish a book like this and you're still like, I don't get it, I don't care, not much is going to save that person anyway. But all the people in the middle, books like this are invaluable. I liked this book for its simplicity. It just simply exposes the consequences for the way that today's world is run. And we can't deal with those consequences for much longer.